Time to dive into some injury news across the National Football League here on Verts. My name is Harrison Graham. Let's go ahead and dive on in here. Tua Tagovailoa set to return. The Dolphins have opened up his practice window, and if there aren't any setbacks, he is expected to be activated to the 53-man roster and play this week against the Arizona Cardinals. He spoke to the media today, and I got to say it was an interesting press conference. And the phrase that caught my attention was, "I'm willing to play the odds." Basically, when asked about injury risk assessment, how much he considered playing versus not playing, etc. And look, I am not here to be critical of questioning someone's love for the game and wanting to play the game of football. Tua can do what he wants. It's his choice, and as long as the doctors sign off on it and the Dolphins are cool with him playing, Godspeed, brother. But some of the things he was saying was a little bit rich. He went on this soliloquy where he said, there's risk in everything in life. Getting up, getting in the car to driving to work. He said you could sprain your ankle rolling out of bed, and it's like, sure, you could, but I think that's way less likely than a football player suffering a concussion when he's already had 3. Again, he can do what he wants. It was almost just like some of the explanations was like, okay, Tua, we get it. You want to play football, you're going to play football. Like, I'm rooting for you. But it's just like, I don't think it's the same as average working Americans that have to pay rent, getting out of bed and driving to work. I don't think that risk assessment is the same as, well, if I have another major concussion, that could be problematic. So he's going to play. I'll say this. His value in my eyes has increased since he's been out because they have been atrocious without him. I just hope he can stay healthy. I mean, it's a major concern of mine. I really am concerned about his ability to avoid hits. So I hope this works out. I'm rooting for Tua. Seems like a likable guy. But, man, he's had a couple of those, I think it's called fragmenting, where his hands kind of curl up on him and when he suffers the concussion. It's scary, man. Fencing is the phrase, not fragmenting. And I hope it works out because he clearly loves playing. He's clearly a good player. I have questions about him in big games and cold weather, but clearly they're better with him. And I hope he can avoid the major injuries because we've seen multiple already. Thank you guys so much for 4,000 subscribers. We did our first ever Verts live stream yesterday. Did a kind of an NFL Week 7 hangout show and kept up with the games, had some fun. So thanks to everybody who tuned in. And if you want more live shows and more content in general around the NFL and college football, hit that subscribe button. We are on the trek to 5,000 subscribers. Come join the family. It's 100% free. Let's talk a little Jayden Daniels now. Despite his initial tests being negative with the rib injury yesterday, he is going to undergo more testing this week, according to Jordan Schultz. And then I thought Adam Schefter kind of had an interesting note on Pat McAfee today when he essentially said, yeah, Washington doesn't really have a good idea of where he is right now. And it could just be one of those deals where when it's a rib injury, it's kind of just, you have to let it sit there for a day or two. I remember a couple years ago, Justin Fields had a rib injury with the Bears. I think his initial tests were negative, and then later in the week, it popped up that there was a small fracture. I'd have to go back and double check, but I think ribs are one of those tricky injuries that, you sleep on it, wake up, oh, I'm feeling a lot worse today than I was yesterday. So I think this is a day-by-day situation, and obviously we all want to see Jayden Daniels versus Caleb Williams this weekend. So we hope that's going to be the case. Schefter did say they're pretty clear there's nothing major here, but he could be in pain. Maybe there's a scenario where he's got to wear extra rib protection down there. Could he be more hesitant to run, assuming he does play? So I don't think this is a nothing burger. I think this is going to be something to monitor throughout the week with Jayden Daniels. And I've said it before and I've said it again. This is my biggest concern with him coming out. It wasn't even a major hit he took, but he's so thin that you get tackled to the ground by these NFL players, or if you take a face mask to the rib cage, you're gonna feel it. You're going to feel it. He's not, as thick as a Caleb or a Drake or some of these bigger quarterbacks in the NFL. Like he's a $190, $195. Like he's not a big guy. So We'll see what his status is moving forward. Hopefully he can play. Big game coming up for Washington and Chicago. All right, a couple of injuries that got confirmed. Deshaun Watson had his Achilles tear confirmed this morning, had an MRI. We all knew what it was, but got to go through the process of confirming it. He is expected to make a full recovery. And I was just thinking about this again last night when I went to sleep. And obviously there's a lot of hot takes out there on did the Browns fans do wrong by him by, booing him when he went injured, cheering that he was hurt, all that stuff. It's a slippery slope, but there's clearly extra complications here that I frankly just don't feel the need to get into. What I am willing to get into is that this has just been an absolute disaster, and that disaster is not going away. Because now he's suffering a second major injury in a row. Last year it was season-ending shoulder injury. Now it's an Achilles. And look at the cap situation. He has cap hits, not even just cash he's owed, cap hits of $73 million in each of the next 2 years. That is tough to overcome for a franchise. Because if he's not the guy, and I think it's pretty safe to say that he isn't, that's not just like a contract you can make go away. Like, you're going to take on major money with your cap, regardless of if he's on your roster or not. So the Browns are in major trouble. They need to trade pieces off at the deadline, try to get some picks, and really just start over because they're probably a couple years away minimum from being a high-level contender because they're just stuck with this awful contract and awful player in Deshaun Watson. So, we'll see what his future holds in terms of playing, but I can't imagine the Browns are sitting there today optimistic about the next 12 to 18 months. It's hard to feel that way right now. This one just came in as well. Brandon Aiyuk is out for the year. His knee injury has been confirmed as season-ending. No surprise. We saw how the knee bent on that injury. Just an unfortunate play. And the Niners are in a bit of trouble, man. They really are. They're 3-4 now. They don't have a receiver who can consistently separate. Brock Purdy, historically, when he loses just one of his top weapons, much less multiple, which was the case against the Chiefs, does not play nearly as well. And, I think this team makes the playoffs still, but I don't view them as I have the last couple of years. I don't think they are a major contender at this point in time. They feel like a team that would, probably lose in the divisional round of the NFC, which is still a really good year, but that's not what they signed up for this year. They've been knocking on the door to win a Super Bowl, and the Chiefs aren't even fully right now. They've got a lot of injuries. Mahomes isn't playing his best ball, and they kind of got whipped yesterday at home by Kansas City, the team they're ultimately trying to chase. So I think there's real issues there in San Francisco, and I think they're in major trouble. Okay, want to take a look at Monday Night Football's doubleheader just briefly. Subscribe. We'll have a Monday Night Football reaction tonight. Ravens-Bucs. We get the Chargers. Cardinals in a second, but it's a pretty juicy game, man. Baltimore's won 4 in a row. Tampa's 4-2 as well. 2 top 6 offenses, top 7. Quarterbacks are both playing well, Lamar and Baker. This feels like one of those track meet type of games, which historically with these two teams, just even recently, you would have said this is going to be a slugfest. Defenses are going to show up to play, a hard hitting. Not saying you won't see any of that, but with the way Lamar and Derrick Henry are running and the way Baker and those receivers are running around, and they can run the ball too with some different backs. Sean Tucker out of nowhere last week had a big game for Tampa. They've got dudes who can make plays. This is going to be fun. I think this game tonight is, winner might take 31, 35 points to get it done. So excited about that one. And an interesting game as well between the Chargers and the Cardinals as LA can get to 4-2 at the win. Kind of feels like a last opportunity to stay in the playoff race if you're Arizona. If you lose this game, fall to 2-5, do you maybe sell off a few pieces at the deadline and keep retooling for 2025 and beyond? Because coming into the year, I thought they'd be scrappy and competitive, and they have been, but I thought they were realistically still a year away. You lose tonight at home to the Chargers, that's kind of confirmation, like you're not going to be a playoff team this year. So we'll see what Kyler and the boys can do, but good QB matchups. Kyler versus Herbert. Lamar versus Baker, 4 pretty damn good ones tonight. So I'm excited about it. The doubleheaders have been pretty good this year because the last 2 we had, one of the games was atrocious. So you just flip on the other game, and all of a sudden you got a better game. So excited about that, and excited to break it all down with you, because we will have our 4 Verts Monday Night Football doubleheader post-game reactions, so be sure to subscribe to the channel. My name is Harrison Graham. We will see you guys tonight at the conclusion of Chargers versus Cardinals.